A PEI political shocker today. Premier Dennis King is stepping down as Premier and leader of the Progressive Conservative Party. King made that announcement this afternoon. His resignation is as of 1 p.m. local time on Friday, not noon. Now, King has been PEI's Premier, of course, close to 6 years, first being elected in April of 2019. He has seen the province through a number of very challenging years, the pandemic, potato ward, and post-tropical storm Fiona, and now the threat of U.S. President Trump's tariffs. So he says now is the right time for him to step aside. Our political reporter, Kerry Campbell, joins us now with more. So, Kerry, why and why now?
Yeah, Louise, I think it's the same answer to both questions. King said he made this decision after speaking this over with his family over the Christmas holiday and deciding that he wasn't going to run again. We never expected that he was going to run again. He had been dropping sort of little hints that would be the case. But also, like, as far back as a year ago, he started talking about how everything that he had gone through as Premier, all these crises and everything, had taken a toll on his mental health. Now here he is staring down the threat of tariffs from Donald Trump. He made it clear today that he cannot be the leader to lead PEI through yet another crisis.
This is the most difficult job a person can do because of the public nature of it and just the full public responsibility that lands with it every day. In government, if you could ever get 75% support, it's an amazing number. If you help 75% of the people, it's an amazing feat. But there's 25% that don't get helped. And in PEI, you know who they are. They're probably your neighbor. They're probably your friend. And that brings with it a tremendous toll of responsibility and burden. And just given what we have been through over the number of years with all the pandemics and all of the stuff that we've all been through together, it takes its toll. I mean, there were days that, like many Islanders, I found it hard to get out of bed because I was tired and stressed and not feeling, like worthy of these things and going through many different mental health challenges. And my family went through all of that, and it takes its toll. And I think I'm a vastly different person now than I was when I started. I hardly recognize who that person was in 2018 when I announced my run for the Progressive Conservative leadership.
And Louise, the Premier was asked, is this because of Trump? Is Trump too much? He said, well, yeah, I think I can speak for everyone. Trump is too much. But he said once he decided he wasn't going to run again, then he was only ever going to be 3/4 in this fight with one eye on the door. And he said that's just not the way to approach this.
So when he officially resigns 1 o'clock Friday, Kerry, what happens then?
Yeah, so earlier today, the PC caucus voted on an interim leader for the party under the rules in their constitution. That is Rob Lance. And Rob Lance, he had a go at this in the election in 2015. He will finally get to become Premier. He will be sworn in sometime after 1 o'clock tomorrow. This is playing out differently than the last time we had sitting Premier resign. That was Robert Gibbs. He stuck around until the party had chosen a new leader, Wade McLaughlin. It's also different, though, in the fact that Rob Lance has now a seat in the legislature. But this is going to give us another vacancy in the PC benches. Of course, Natalie Jameson resigned her seat recently to run for the federal Conservatives. Dennis King is also giving up his seat. So Rob Lance will have 6 months to call a couple of by-elections. He could also call a general election, but one of the reasons Dennis King said he's doing what he's doing now is because the PCs have to hold a leadership convention. He said he wanted to give them lots of runway in order to be able to do that before the next election.
Kerry, I know there will be lots of talk about this in the coming days, hours, even tonight, but what does this do to island politics right now? I mean, this was a shocker today.
And it's a pretty big reset because, right now and until, the Greens are the first up to pick a new permanent leader, but all three parties in the legislature are under interim leaders. If you held an election, whenever it comes, it's likely the only party leader who has any experience of this is going to be Michelle Neal with the NDP, the only person who's run as leader before, assuming Rob Lance doesn't become the permanent leader. The next election is scheduled to happen in the fall of 2027. of these things have a habit of coming early on PEI. Now, King today said he feels that he changed island politics. Use that word one more time. We've heard so many times from the early days, collaboration. I'm not sure that change stuck. But another thing that King said today was he thinks the times are calling for a different kind of politics, and he said that should happen under a different leader.
All right, Kerry, thanks so much for this. That's Kerry Campbell reporting for us tonight. Of course, lots of reaction coming in. Opposition party politicians reacting to Dennis King's decision to step down as premier. Now, the legislature supposed to sit next week, as we just told you. PEI's Liberal Party says it's waiting to hear if that will go ahead.
Many questions that need to be answered. Are we going to be in the legislature next Tuesday with a new premier? Will there be a delay? I'm not sure how this is going to play out, but I'm hoping in the next hours we'll have a better understanding of how this will play out and give Islanders a little bit more clarity.
The Green Party was surprised to hear King will be stepping down from his role. There are several issues facing Islanders, such as the threat of U.S. tariffs. The party says not having someone in the Premier's chair, even for a short period of time, is unsettling.
I think what it's going to mean right now is, we're going to need a return to collaboration to deal with issues like, the threat of tariffs that we're looking at right now, our major electricity issues and challenges that the grid is facing in Prince Edward Island, or healthcare issues. We're going to need all hands on deck. We need a collaborative approach right now.
Of course, Rob Lands will be the premier tomorrow. McFarland says the next provincial election will be interesting. By then, all sitting parties will likely have new leaders selected.